This world is beyond cruelty. It was a dream to return to the world of Dune. I've never gotten a return to a project before. So this was not only returning to castmates that I had a beautiful working experience with the first time, it was also getting to see characters expand, like Chani, getting to work with new, super talented actors like Austin Butler, Florence Pugh I'd done a film with before. So this was an absolute dream come true. And getting to see Denis bring his full vision to life. Obviously, when he wrote the first movie, he had written them together with the idea of doing two parts. So the first film was a litmus test. It was sort of a thesis on getting the right to do a second movie. Rebecca just did incredible work across the movie, but even just in the scene where, in the moments after she becomes the Reverend, or after she does the Water of Life process, and I wasn't on set those days, but I was fortunate enough to get to see the footage. I mean, there's an element in her physical performance there that's multidimensional and very different than what Jessica's going through in the first movie. And then there's a sort of stillness and regality to who Lady Jessica becomes as the Reverend Mother of the Fremen that once more is entirely different from the work she was doing in the first one, and super impressive, and brings just a very important element to this film. We had a working relationship here, but as you said, it was only like 3-4 days, so it was more from the friendship that had grown in the years since the first movie and second movie were shot, and just a wonderful experience to get to work with the actress she's become, and you know, producerially and creatively, she's firing on all cylinders. So she was a real partner in crime. Just tracking our relationship through the film, and as I'm sure I'll talk about a million times in the coming year, I hope, you know, just a wonderful friend. The most spoiled cast additions ever. You know, Suyala, amazing French actress who plays Shishakli, and Léa Seydoux, who's one of my favorite actresses, and from Blue is the Warmest Color, and I've been dying to work with for years, and she just brings in a regality and an excellence and just scariness to the Lady Fenring role. Florence Pugh is amazing in this movie. Austin Butler is extraordinary as Fade Routha. I mean, really extraordinary. We did a cast Zoom in July or something, and he sounded like Stellan. And like Zendaya and I were joking about it afterwards because people were just kind of reading through the script on the Zoom, and then Austin started doing his thing, and everyone started acting with the camera more, you know. And then Christopher Walken, King of New York. It's amazing, you know, the Emperor of the Universe, the King of New York, is confronted by a young man from New York, so I guess all roads do go through New York, you know. No, but what a cast. No, what's cool is when you see Javier Bardem and Josh Brolin and Stellan Skarsgård giddy about returning to a role, and I think all those guys, definitely those guys, have been a part of hugely successful franchises, sequels like Pirates of the Caribbean and Avengers and Guardians of the Galaxy. So they were giddy, you know, and they're like little kids in a candy store. And I have so many funny videos of Josh. I think I could put together a documentary. I mean, Florence Pugh is extraordinary in this movie. She's extraordinary in every movie she's in, but she brought something, a steeliness, a fierceness, just incredible, and sort of just inspiring to be working with her on the day. I got to do another film with her where we also play ill-fated lovers at the end, but Florence is just the rare artist and actress who just comes to life on screen, and in real life, obviously, for anybody who's hung out with her, is exponential. But just an incredible actress, a very hard worker, and just brought something very special to this movie. Yeah.
I'm still pinching myself that I had the privilege and the chance to bring Dune to the screen. It was the biggest challenge of my life because it's very dangerous to tackle your childhood's dream. I'm pretty proud, and there's a lot of moments that are very close to the images I had in mind when I read the book as a kid. Yeah, it's very moving for me. Hans and I share the same passion for the book. We both read the book when we were young. We have the same kind of history. Hans was the first artist that joined me on part one, and he was the first artist that joined me on part two. It started, I would say that the part two started as 6 months after Dune release. Hans was still composing, was still scoring the movie. I was like sometimes receiving music and say, Hans, the movie's in theater right now and you're still sending me music. He said, yeah, but it's not, you understand, I want you to be inspired for part two. I cannot stop right now. Just listen and it will inspire you for when you're gonna write and blah, 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 blah. It is definitely the best way to experience Dune part two in IMAX. Why? Because IMAX is definitely the most immersive format you can find. And it has the ability to create very strong intimacy, but also tremendous scope. And I recommend strongly if you want to see the full power of Dune, you should see it in IMAX. I hope that they will be moved by the relationship of Paul and Shani. Part two, at its core, is a love story, a tragic love story. And I hope that people will embrace Paul and Shani's tragedy and be moved by what it means about our world today. We made so much effort to try to bring in all tiny details the subtlety of the desert and what it is to be walking in a desert. What the desert, that's the impact on the psyche, on your soul, of what it means to be in the desert, and even more what it is to ride a sandworm, and the exhilarating experience and the danger of such a means of transport. I mean, it's like something that you can only experience on the big screen in a theater. And I strongly believe that as humans, we need more than ever communal experience. We are meant to be together, and I think that cinema represents a beautiful moment to share stories together, and that's the most powerful way to enjoy cinema.
Stilgar makes this presentation in part one, and in part two, now he brings Paul and Jessica into his world, into Arrakis, and he's the one to present the reality of his tribe, of his people, of his needs, of his circumstances to Paul. And the role is very complex now, and I love that. I love to work with that complexity, and it has humor, has depth, has command, and also has some sensitivity about what are his needs. No? Dune Part 2, it's about the journey of Paul, the character of Timothy, coming of age and becoming the man that is going to lead us to a better world, but with a lot of complexity and contradictions within that journey. I think Timothy is a very talented actor. I can see the difference between part one and part two, in the sense that he now owns the role in a different way, which is beautiful because that's what the movie is about as well. In the first one, it's in the introduction. It's a world that opens in front of him, and now he has to own that world. And he, as an actor, he's so elastic and flexible, and he can jump from drama to comedy to depth to light in a second, and it's beautiful to see that near him. It's beautiful to be in front of him and see his process. And also, being so young as he is, it's great the energy that brings into the set. It really puts you up in one of the greatest moods. Rebecca, I had a chance to have some scenes with her, which in the first one we didn't have, and she's a fantastic actress, and also she's very funny. She makes me laugh a lot, and she is very easy to work with, and I think she's bringing a depth and a complexity to the role that it's very well put together. The good thing with Josh and I is that we know each other for so long, and we were pinching each other like, man, we are here. We are working together. We're still making the job that we like. We are blessed, and we are here with this amazing team of people. So we are very aware, and we were celebrating every moment out of it. It's a long shoot. It's a long film. It's a long shoot, and I think, for me, now that I'm getting older, for me it's clearer and clearer. It's about the captain of the boat, the energy that he brings. In this case, Denis Villeneuve, and he's such a wonderful, caring, beautifully creative and generous person that there is no room for any of the other things. So everybody's really here doing their best because they are happy. They feel protected. They feel welcome. They feel heard. They want to be part of it. They're excited. And you can tell that on the crew, behind the camera, and in front of the camera. And that makes the job way easier, way funnier, and way better. Yeah. And I would say everybody has to do with it, but especially Denis Villeneuve. I think Denis Villeneuve is one kind of director that I don't know how to express it. I don't know, because I adore him, I love him, I am so grateful that he gave me the chance to be part of this adventure. And at the same time, he's creating this mastodontic world. But when you are shooting, actually, I don't know how he does it. You feel like you're doing an independent movie. I mean, the camera is there, the crew is there, but it's like, okay, let's get back to work. Let's do the thing. Let's just focus on this. Let's create together. Let's experiment with things. Let's try this, let's try that. And then you forget about the surroundings, the huge machinery that is behind this big movie. And you take the creative journey as an actor. And that's beautiful, because otherwise you would have thought, oh, is this going to be too much of a weight under my shoulders when they say action? No. He's there to make sure that you are doing your thing, which is create freely, with pleasure, with joy. Still suit is great. It's amazing, the wardrobe, and I mean, the costumes in this movie, as it was in the first one, it's insane. I mean, wherever you look at, it's like the details, the tiny details are amazing. So the first time I put back the still suit, it was like, oh, wow, here it is. I felt that it was a little bit overweight. Like, oh, no, it's tighter than 3 years ago. But then I started to lose weight, and it fit better. And it was fine as soon as we were doing interiors on sets. But when we came out here with the still suit, that was a different game. And still, it's not as bad as I was expecting. I mean, it's hot, but it's manageable. You can do it. Denis is a strong believer on shooting things with the camera rather than too many digital world. And you can tell that in the way he shoots it, and I appreciate. We all appreciate that, because it puts you right in the place, in the dunes, in the desert, in the sandworm, and he likes the things to be simple but real, and that's beautiful for an actor to be part of that. I think part 2 is more complex, wider, has more action than first one, which it was kind of an introduction to the world. In this one, we develop those worlds. We develop those characters. We bring them to contradictions, to thoughts, to emotions, to encounters. And it's more emotional. And I think it's, visually speaking, it's going to be, I don't know what's the word. It's so big, it's so out of my understanding. I don't know what's the word to say in English. It's going to be outstanding, because what I see on a little monitor, still being the monitor, I go, what is that? I think that's what it's going to happen in this second part. People are going to be blown away.